Welcome to the Reminisce with Lauren Mann podcast, the place where we talk about the good old days, share anecdotes, and hear the wisdom and stories of older people. Here is your host, multi-award-winning carer and entrepreneur, Lauren Mann.
Karen has told me a little bit about you.
Yes.
And she said that you were born in Oxford.
Yes.
What was
not
that
far
like?
from here.
What was that like?
The second baby born in a new maternity home.
Were you?
1935. Work that
Wow.
one out.
Did you have many siblings?
Many what?
Many brothers and sisters?
I have one sister who is 8 years younger than me. I saw her very recently, which was nice. She lives in Blandford now in Dorset. Yeah. We don't see each other. We didn't see each other for years. You see, I was brought up by my grandparents.
Okay.
My mum died just after the E-Day.
Oh.
And that was, our lives were all over the place.
Yeah.
Anyhow, you've got my second name down.
I don't.
No.
I don't need that. Just your first name. That's fine.
Just call me Jean.
were you named after somebody?
No.
Not after a grandparent or anything?
No. What was my grandparents' name? Beatrice Annie.
What was it like growing up with your grandparents?
They were fantastic to me because they should have retired. And my grandfather just retired off the Great Western Railway. And he was a lovely fellow. Everybody liked him. And he couldn't stand being at home on his own because my grandma had died by then, just as he retired.
Oh.
And he got this job at the canning factory, and he was everybody loved him, you know. And he looked after he looked after me, or I looked after him. I'm not quite sure which way around it.
Teamwork.
But he was lovely. And he was so grateful for what I did, mind you, by looking after him. What did he do? He took me on a 5-country tour.
Did he?
Yes.
Where did you go?
Not Sweden, not up as far north as that, but always some lovely places in, what was the other place? Where there was a lot of going on with the British, where some of the British hid the Germans, not the Germans, but the spies for Britain. Oh, and it was so interesting, because I'd been reading a book about that, quite by accident, and it was so interesting, and then got hold of this chap who was he's supposed to have retired, but you know, people got to hear about what he'd been doing, and we all sort of started, and it was so interesting.
So how old were you then when you were going on that trip? Quite young?
Possibly late 20s.
Oh, so you had a good understanding.
Oh, crumbs, yes.
Oh, wow. I bet that
That's
was...
how old my grandfather was, yes, he was almost 75.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So he had a lot of wisdom to share with you.
Yeah.
That's
It was
incredible.
lovely. You know, I'm not saying lucky, I don't use the word lucky, fortunate in my life. And sometimes when I think about it, why did that happen? And it all fits in, everybody fits in like a jigsaw. If that hadn't happened, that couldn't have happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it still happens now.
Yeah.
Something happened the other day and I thought, why? That's nothing to do with what I want to do, you know? It'll work itself out probably by next week.
Bless you. So what did you do for your work?
Geology and mineralogy.
Ooh. Tell me more about that.
Well, it was strange because the person I worked for the Atomic Energy Research Establishment at Harwell.
Okay.
And when I first left school, I worked at W.H. Smith and Sons, because my grandma said that should be, Uncle Vic's been in W.H. Smith and Sons for all his life. How boring. So books, oh, no. Anyhow, I was talking to this lady and she said, I think I know you. I said, sorry. And what happened was, a few months later, I went to work for her husband in Harwell, you know, in geology and mineralogy. And they wanted someone, because apparently I've got I've got a certain touch. This finger got me the job. No, I'll be careful how I point that, because I can separate minerals like that. And you've got a vibrating table as well.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's interesting. It could become boring if you want to let it to, you know. But no, it's like it. Now my boss, he was a scientist during the war.
Wow.
A special scientist. And some of his things aren't allowed to be published even now, what he got, you know, sort of, not bullets exactly, but shells and that sort of thing. And when I went to work for him, someone got to hear of it and said, "Is that G. Chris?" Well, Dunstan I was then. And he said, yes. He said, ask her if she'd like to come to America for 6 months. I said, don't think I've just managed to get her to come to work for me. And they'd heard about me. Would I like to go to America for 6 months? I said, no.
No.
I want to stay in Britain.
Okay.
I love my country too much to go out. Anyway, at the moment. And it was great. It's all worked out.
So did you go to America eventually?
No.
You did not?
No.
Are you happy with that? You
Yes, yeah. It didn't appeal to me.
It didn't appeal to you.
No.
Did that job take you anywhere else in the world, looking at the things?
Well, in a vague sort of way. I ended up in Germany, because I got married by then, and John was posted to Germany, which I loved. I've been around quite a bit, and it's every piece is fitted into a puzzle. A couple of times I've been asked to write a book, and I thought, no, I don't want to write a book.
Aww.
They're my personal things, and something I couldn't relay to other people how I felt.
Yes.
They're my personal things, and that's that.
Yeah. So Karen tells me that you wanted to join the Navy.
I don't know. I've got nobody who was in a Navy, whether it was in the Royal Navy or whether it was what do they call the other ones? I forget what it is now. But I've always loved the sea, and yet I can't swim.
Oh.
And as soon as I go into the sea, I get cramp,
I don't like it.
and I have to be taken out. So what's the bloody point? And funny enough, this morning when I left, have I got that colour? I bet someone will want to see what I was like with a uniform, of course. I've left it at home.
Oh, that's okay. It doesn't matter.
But,
So what about your hobbies then? Did you have any interest
Gardening.
in hobby? Gardening. Did
Oh, I
you
love
have a nice
gardening.
garden?
yeah, we had quite a big garden when in my grandparents' place. It was a council house and had a big garden at the side and at the front. And when I got one of my own when I moved, well, I'd just be about half an hour. So about 3 hours later, I go in. I get so carried away with it.
It's
I
good.
lose myself at it. It's such a calming influence.
Yeah, it's very therapeutic, isn't it? People
yeah.
do it, and get engulfed in it, and you're out there hours. So how long have you been around this area then?
Well, I was born in Oxford. And then my father was out of the army. He got a job in Gillette's razor blade factory, and then of course they were guaranteed, when they were called up into the army and afterwards, they were all guaranteed a job to go back to in Gillette's razor blade factory,
Right.
which they did. But they were so used to working outside,
Yeah.
they couldn't stand it indoors anymore, so a lot of them were made redundant. It was called something else at the time, you know. But he ended up, my mother had died by then. He did for several years. He managed to find a lovely wife, we thought. We all be coming to live with me in Hayes in Middlesex, and she said, oh no, she won't.
Oh.
I looked after her for 40 odd years, I'm going to continue till I die.
Oh. So that was a curveball.
So that was that.
Oh dear.
But he did find a nice lady. She was lovely, but she died.
Oh.
He just wasn't meant to have it. I don't think, you know.
Oh. Did you have any animals throughout your life?
Dog. I had a dog. Peter. It was what do you call it? Like a rough, bit of a terrier. But oh, it was lovely, and nobody wanted him.
Oh.
We managed to get him, you know.
Where did you get him from?
But the trouble was, he thought he was going out in the car because he loved car rides, so we took it. Well, we did have a car, which you had sort of just a weekend, go out for a half an hour's trip or something. You know. And he jumped in it. What he didn't know, what we didn't know, and I didn't know, it was a woman with a voluntary service who came to collect him.
Okay.
And never saw him again.
What?
Well, I didn't realise that. I don't know. I didn't understand why he had to go back, unless the people that took him originally to be rehomed, they wanted them back. I don't know. He was lovely. He wasn't anything special. He was just. My mum used to put dog biscuits out for us, for him. And I like, go on then, Peter. And he'd look up and say, do you want some? And I'd have some, then he'd leave some.
Oh.
And he used to say when there was some for me. But don't forget it was Russian still then, end of the war. But, oh, we got round these things, you know, you do, so.
So how, during the time of the war then, how did you find that? Did you find it a frightening time?
Oh, I hated the sirens. They put if I hear a siren on a plane or something, it gives me the creeps. Yeah. I can hear it now.
Yeah.
We had a shelter, concrete shelter built in the garden.
In Oxford.
Yes, but this it. First night we had it, poured with rain.
Oh dear.
Couldn't get down there.
Oh.
It flooded.
Oh dear.
So we had one of these iron ones inside, and we used it as a table inside the house. And my mum had it put on a wire mesh. We felt like blinking animals in there, you know. But it was in case anything happened, we could be taken out quickly. But,
So, did you have to go to school as normal during the war?
yes, oh yeah.
So, were there shelters at your school?
No, I don't remember the shelters.
No.
It was Pinkwell Lane, Hayes, Middlesex.
So, you had shelter at home, but not at school?
Not at school, no.
That seems frightening to me. Were you ever scared?
No, I didn't think about it. It was part of life, and that was it.
You just got on with it?
You just had to. There was no alternative. Now I think back, crashes, we could have done that, but I mean, when you're that age, sort of, you know, 10, 11, 12, whatever, you're not seeing much of the world, so you don't know what the thing's going to be, so.
Oh, thank you so much for talking to me.
What?
You're going out for your lunch now, I think?
Yes, it's part of her birthday. It's her birthday today.
Oh, lovely. Well, have a lovely time. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Reminisce with Lauren Mann. We hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to sharing our next episode with you soon.